The counterfeits are experiencing, or have and will experience, God's wrath. They are going through judgment because they're trying to hold on to a promise, a person that isn't theirs. The Philistines were wondering why they were going through all of this torment. The ark was getting bounced around from place to place, and the result was the same. A lot of your God-ordained spouses have been in multiple counterfeit relationships, bounced from relationship to relationship. And some of these relationships were ones they'd been in multiple times, but they ended up going to someone different and then going back to that previous relationship, ending up with the same result. God highlighted at the point where the people of Beth Shemesh rejoiced that his hand is heavy in an environment where there is opposition towards his will and his glory. But when it comes to his children, his yoke is light, his burden is easy, meaning that what we go through as his children is nothing compared to those who are outside of his will. And then at the point that I was actually writing all of this down, he spoke in due time, meaning those who are outside of his will may look like for a period of time, everything is working out in their favor, life is going smoothly, everything is working out for them. And God is saying, in due time, my wrath will show. In due time, they will reap the consequences of their actions, of their disobedience and their rebellion, okay? The counterfeits that this particular word is about, okay? Some of them asked God for a sign. God emphasized, you recognize real when real walks through the door. So even though these people, these counterfeits, do not have a relationship with God, they have no reverence, respect, or honor towards him whatsoever, they recognize that it's his hand on their life which is causing or allowing them to go through the things they're going through because they are in disobedience, because they're trying to hold on to something that does not belong to them. God clarified it's not even the person, your God-ordained spouse, that he's referring to as a thing, because he recognizes that his children are not things. What they're trying to hold on to is a promise that isn't theirs, and it's this promise of godly relationship. They are trying to have access to things that will come through my children, aka your God-ordained spouses, that aren't theirs to have access to. Even though these counterfeits aren't familiar with real because they're used to dealing with fake, they're used to dealing with phony, they're used to dealing with superficial, they're used to manipulation, greed, pride, and everything that goes against what I am. Despite all of that, they know. Just like the Egyptians knew, they weren't accustomed to the realness and reality of God. They were accustomed to worshiping their false gods and their idols. They were accustomed to idolatry and witchcraft. But when I hit them with those plagues, they knew it was my hand. They knew it was the wrath of the God of Israel, the one true living God. So even if you're not accustomed to real, you recognize it when you're face to face with it, because it's real. That's just reality. So this is what these counterfeits have experienced or are experiencing, okay? They asked for a sign, trying to appease their own minds, but we know that there are no coincidences with God. As I was reading chapter 6, verses 8 through 9, which says, take the ark of the Lord, place it on the cart, and put the gold objects that you're sending him as a guilt offering in a box beside the ark. Send it off and let it go its way. Then watch. If it goes up the road to its homeland toward Beth Shemesh, it is the Lord who has made this terrible trouble for us. However, if it doesn't, we will know that it was not his hand that punished us. It was just something that happened to us by chance. When I read that part, God was like, yeah, that's not a thing. Like, there are no coincidences with him, okay? They are being hit with physical discomfort, illness, sickness, ailments, disease. He had me look up tumors because I was lost when I read the part about them making basically like little figurines of tumors. I was like, literal tumors, or what does that mean, God? And so when I looked it up, tumors in the Bible are known as emerods or hemorrhoids. And y'all, I was like hemorrhoids? I had a vague understanding of what hemorrhoids are, but he still led me to look them up. And hemorrhoids, also known as piles, okay, this is a little bit TMI, but this is what he gave me. They're swollen veins in your anus or lower rectum. Very similar to varicose veins, just on your butt. When I realized that the tumors are hemorrhoids, and I was just thinking about hemorrhoids in general as I was looking it up, I immediately thought about STDs, okay? And God dropped it on me that some of these counterfeits have been cheating on the God-ordained spouses, and evidence or proof of that is that they have transmitted, caught, or received an STD, okay? And I felt sick thinking about this. Like, this word, this is a part of why I didn't want to release this, because it honestly made me feel kind of sick to my stomach as he was giving it to me. And yeah, and then some of the counterfeits have other physical ailments and illnesses, some of which might be the flu, some literal actual hemorrhoids, things of that nature. Whatever the case, God is saying that they are being hit, they have been hit with physical warfare because of their disobedience, because God warned them. God warned them on multiple occasions that what they are doing to the God-ordained spouses was not okay. They have been doing them so dirty. He had me underline that. And it's not to say that the spouses themselves have been perfect, but they've been doing them pretty dirty. They've been dogging them out, cheating on them, hooking up with their friends, talking to their friends, telling their business to other people, stealing from them, manipulating them, just taking advantage of them in any way that you can basically imagine. Some have been trying to trap the God-ordained spouses with a baby, and this isn't just regarding female counterfeits, but male counterfeits as well. Take it however it applies to your situation, okay? With this part in particular, God said, he had me write down that this would be confirmation for you. All right. God told me that while some counterfeits asked or will ask for a sign, some have just decided to do something, okay? And the result from that action is going to be their confirmation. As in, yeah, this is indeed God telling you to back off or to stop or to simply rest with reality, that this is just not what God has for you. This is not the person that he's ordained for you to be with, okay? God gave me a scenario where a counterfeit made up their mind to break up with the God-ordained spouse or to start a fight, and then their confirmation that this is just not meant to work out ever, and this is just simply God's will, is the God-ordained spouse completely falling back and falling off, okay? Not fighting for the relationship the way they might have in the past, just completely retracting their energy and effort altogether. God showed me that that will look like the counterfeit being blocked. That'll look like the God-ordained spouse changing their number, completely cutting off all access with them, finally putting their foot down, okay? In chapter 6, verses 10 through 12, when I read about the cows lowing, I had a vision of a wolf howling at